Pretend that you are a director, a creative director of a movie project. And there's an audience that will be viewing your product. So you decide in advance how you want this audience to feel. If you want them to be frightened, you make a really scary setting. You make it dark. You might even make it dirty or uncomfortable. If you want your audience to feel lighthearted and laugh, you might make it in a bright, happy setting. You would set the place and the time of day, and you would adjust the lights to create the mood. And then you would parade your characters across the screen, and your characters would have definite personalities. And in their personalities, they would interplay with one another. And in their interplay, they would exchange words. And you would affect the response of your audience. In like manner, we are suggesting that you decide to gain dominant control of your vibrational offering by setting some scenes of your own. And we suggest really quick scene setting. About 30 seconds is really good, where you decide where it will be, choosing hopefully something that feels good to you. You decide what the time of day is so that you set the lighting and evoke the mood from yourself. You then identify how you feel, even putting words to it, maybe even remembering things like it. Then you decide who else is going to be there with you, and you give them their attitudes or moods, and then you exchange just a few brief words. And in doing so, you affect your vibration. We've called this creative visualization. We've called this using your imagination. We've called it a creative workshop. Today we are calling it virtual reality. We have noticed that most of you are vibrating in response to what is happening around you, but very few of you are deliberately conjuring images that cause you to offer a vibration. And in order to be the deliberate creator of your vibration, you have to be able to deliberately conjure some vibration. The reason that we are encouraging this process of virtual reality is because that's the way you make a dominant vibration dominant on purpose. Virtual reality process is for one purpose only, and that is to practice a vibration and make it dominant. Everything that's happening in your life is because of whatever vibration is dominant. Wouldn't it be nice if you could make the vibration dominant on purpose? Wouldn't it be nice that instead of vibrating as you learned to vibrate from your mother when you were 4, and without knowing it, you've just continued to practice that so it still dominates your vibration today? So something that you picked up a long, long time ago that doesn't have anything to do with who you now are or what you now want is still controlling the way people respond to you and controlling things that come to you and controlling the way your body works and looks. Wouldn't it be nice if you could today make another decision about how you want to attract and make that vibration dominant? Don't you think it's worth a little bit of effort? We do. And so we're wanting to practice with you some virtual realities. And we want to remind you that the purpose of the virtual reality is one purpose only, to cause you to offer a vibration that is dominant on purpose. And here's what we mean by this. When you think about most subjects, you already have a dominant vibration relative to those subjects. When you think about the subject of dollars, abundance, money, do you feel more adventurous, exhilarated, excited, unlimited? Or do you feel more worried, concerned, frustrated, limited? You know. Sometimes you say, well, it's a little of both, and we say if it's a little of both, that's good, because you can choose which you want it to be. But most of you know easily, as we throw out those possibilities, where your dominant vibration about the subject of money is. Relationships. Does your dominant relationship feel like fresh air, joy, expansion, freedom, exhilaration? Or does it feel like hard work, I'm always in trouble, struggle? You know, You can tell. When you think about your physical body, does it feel vital and alive and flexible and eager? Or do you feel about your body pensive, uncertain, insecure, not sure? You know. When you think about your physical appearance or weight, do you feel frisky and hearty and adorable and perfect? Or do you feel inadequate, flawed, needy, broken? Now, we've offered extremes here, we know. But the reason we are offering them is because we can feel hot buttons being pushed all over this room. As we cause you to focus upon an aspect of your life and offer some scenarios, your light boards are lighting up all over the place. You can practice virtual reality and cause different activations within you. In other words, we throw out a game like this, like feeling where you are relative to these aspects. And you can feel, but even more importantly, you see the manifestation of it. In other words, are you bickering all the time? Or are you cooing all the time? Are you romping and feeling good? Or are you feeling guilty when you eat? Are you enjoying the aspects of your life as they unfold relative to these subjects? Or are you not enjoying the aspects of your life as they unfold relative to these subjects? You can tell by the way you've been feeling. And what we are suggesting to you here in the most powerful way that we could ever suggest it, because it is our absolute knowing, is that you have creative control of your life experience. You just have not been exercising it. It's why so many of you form relationships. They're good in the beginning, then they go sour, then you reach for another. They're good in the beginning, then they go sour. And it is because most of you are not doing anything about stabilizing your own dominant thoughts. You're just letting whatever floats across your television screen, so to speak, affect the way you feel. You've become audiences that have watched what's happening, audiences that have allowed others to make a decision how you will feel. Esther can tell when she hears the music. She'll say, oh, it's going to get scary. I don't want to watch it. Or, oh, it's turning to an unhappy place. I don't want to watch it. In other words, she wants to watch it when the music is happy because the potential of something happy is more probable. You have the ability to deliberately activate within yourself vibrations. And it doesn't matter where you stand on any issue that is important to you. You have the ability with a little bit of work, a little bit of consistent work, of shifting the way you feel and therefore shifting your point of attraction and therefore shifting every relationship with every other being and every relationship with your own physical body and every relationship with economic conditions. You can change everything. You can modify everything that touches you into that which pleases you explicitly. We just have one small warning. You will never get it done. You will never stop wanting to adjust or amend. And that's the fun when you get the hang of this. When you begin to understand that you can control the way you feel, then you get this constant feedback of what comes back to you. And if something comes back that doesn't feel all that good, then you just amend your virtual reality. Now, we want to give something to you here. We really, really want you to hear this. This is the most important thing that you will hear from us relative to this subject of making a vibration dominant within you. This process of virtual reality is not a process whereby you take something that is broken in your life into a vision and then modify it into something that works. The process of virtual reality isn't where you take something that isn't the way you want it and change it to something that you want. And that is almost the first thing that people think that virtual reality is. In other words, you would not create a scenario where you are building a magnificent house and get in there and discover that it has a leaky roof and then create in your virtual reality a repairman that would come and fix the roof. Since it's your virtual reality and you get to make it any way you want, we would assume that you would not make a leaky roof. But there is a tendency when you begin playing the game of virtual reality to take some real life scenario and get it in there and wrestle it to the ground. And all that happens then is you mess up the vibration of that virtual reality. And remember, this is only an exercise to cause something else to be dominant within you. You get a sense of this? Physical humans say, well, shouldn't I face reality? And we say, if reality is pleasing to you in all ways, then give it your undivided attention. But if there is an aspect of it that doesn't feel good when you're living it, then why would you take it to virtual reality and hold it in your vibration? And yet that's what so many of you do. That's what worry is. Worry about what has already happened or worry about what is happening. That's a virtual reality where you're practicing thoughts that don't feel good to you. So, virtual reality is the exercise that I will use in order to practice a vibration that will serve me better. It's only where I practice. So, if there is something happening in my body that I would like to improve, should I take the subject of my body into virtual reality? Probably not. Because if I take the subject of my body into virtual reality, I'll probably just activate the vibration where it already is, and now my virtual reality is not serving me. So what do I do in my virtual reality? I just go get feeling good in whatever way I can. I just go to a place that makes me happy when I think about it. And I go there in a time of day that feels the best to me. And I look at things that are easy to feel good about. And then I bring other people in if I feel good about those people that I'm bringing in. And then I exchange brief happy words and then I get out. And I've had 30 seconds of something positive being dominant in my vibration. What's the benefit of that to me? I'm beginning to practice a different muscle so that I'm offering a vibration that serves me more of the time. Two wonderful things happen from that. Law of attraction will bring me more things like that, which will make it easier and easier and easier for me to maintain that vibration. And I will be infinitely more aware when I slip from that vibration. Other vibrations that aren't on that wavelength will stick out more like sore thumbs to me. We know it may feel to you that we are spending a long time, actually an eternity if you really want to know, talking about the same thing over and over and over again. But since law of attraction always has and always will abound, and since you are the attractor of your experience, and since you can control the vibration that you offer, and since you are joy-based beings here intending to have joyful experience, we cannot think of anything more valuable to any of you than to practice as much as you have time for, as much as you can find time for, as much as you want to, holding yourself in a vibration that feels good while you are there. Because when you feel good in the middle of a moment, whether it is something you are living, observing, remembering, or imagining, when you feel good, the vibration that is dominant is one of allowing. Allowing what? All the good stuff that you've been asking for. The well-being that is supposed to be yours, you're allowing it. Do you know your body is supposed to be healthy, and when you're happy, you're allowing it? Do you know that you are supposed to be financially abundant, and when you're happy, you are allowing it? Do you know that you are supposed to feel good in all moments? Do you know that every moment in time that was ever imagined from your source energy point of view was one of speculating to the point of exhilarating you in your physical format? You never once said, I'll go forth and struggle my way to success, because you knew that struggle and success are not vibrationally compatible. You never once said, I'll go forth and I'll find things that are broken and I'll fix them, because you understood that focusing upon broken things would only hold you in vibrational harmony with them. You said, I'll go forth and I will observe, and out of my observation, preferences will be concluded. And as soon as a preference, even a glimmer of a preference, is born within me, then I will give my attention to that. I will make that my dominant vibration temporarily, because there will be another and another and another and another. And I will have a glorious moment-by-moment experience of mining the contrast for the purpose of the nugget of desire to which I can give my attention out here on this leading edge of thought. Triad of intentions. Your objective is joy. And when you are reaching for thoughts that evoke joy within you, then you are a vibrational match to all source energy, and all things that you've ever identified as your preference are then allowed by you into your experience. And growth will be the result. We cannot avoid motion forward. It just is. And we cannot avoid freedom. It just is. But we can point our thoughts toward joy or sorrow, toward optimism or pessimism, toward freedom or bondage, toward what feels good or what feels bad. And that's what you came forth to do. That's the basis of your guidance system. You never once said, I will endure. You said, I will choose. I will choose that which matches who I am.